After the collapse of Midland Circle, Matt Murdock is severely injured and taken to the St. Agnes Orphanage, where he is cared for by Maggie Grace. Due to the extent of his injuries, Murdock loses his enhanced senses, spiraling into a deep state of grief and self-pity. Instead of wearing a mask, Homie might want to invest in wearing a helmet. Deciding to keep his survival a secret from his friends, he abandons the Daredevil mantle. Meanwhile, Karen Page refuses to believe Murdock is dead, which makes sense since we're clearly in another Daredevil episode, and continues paying rent on his apartment, hoping for his return. Karen is a real one. Foggy is probably thinking about faking his own death. She enlists Foggy's help to delay Murdock's eviction, though Nelson tries to convince her that Murdock is gone. Lantham and Grace relocate Murdock to continue his recovery, as he feels uncomfortable in the orphanage. There, Murdock confides in Grace, expressing his anger at God for allowing him to suffer. In Rikers Island, Wilson Fisk struggles with prison life and is visited by his legal team. However, they also inform him that his wife, Vanessa Mariana, is being charged as his accomplice and will not be allowed re-entry into the US. You know he's salty about that. Homie gave her a big-ass ring. Months later, Murdock, motivated to reclaim his former self, begins training again, though a sparring session with a boxer reveals issues with his hearing, leading him to lose both the fight and his heightened senses once more. Despite the setback, Murdock decides to return to the streets of New York City, crafting a new black suit and once again taking up the mantle of Daredevil. Black Devil just doesn't have the same politically correct ring to it. His first night back, he hears the screams of Nada Kazemi and her father being kidnapped. He intervenes, fighting off the kidnappers and allowing the Kazemis to escape, though he's beaten in the process and retreats when an NYPD car approaches. Everybody wants to be black, until it's time to be black. Meanwhile, Ray Nadeem celebrates his son's birthday and his sister-in-law's recovery from cancer. However, he is confronted with his family's financial struggles. Later at the FBI office, Nadeem requests a performance review, but she deems him too vulnerable for a promotion. Instead, she sends him to Rikers Island to speak with Fisk, who, despite the previous refusal to cooperate, is now willing to negotiate with the FBI for the sake of his wife's future. Matt, physically and emotionally shattered, finds himself back at the church. For someone with the word devil in his name, he sure is religious. A brief glimpse of Wilson Fisk precedes a high-stakes FBI raid, orchestrated by Ray Nadeem, which results in the apprehension of corrupt officials, including a notorious mob boss. The success is attributed to Fisk's cooperation. Damn! Homie folded like a cheap suit turned snitch, highlighting his value as an informant. However, Fisk's safety is compromised in the prison attack, a clear retaliation for the raid. You know what they say about snitches? They get intense, elaborate scenes in television series. Karen Page, pursuing her own investigation, uncovers a masked vigilante's involvement in a recent attack. Agent Nadeem's meeting with Fisk reveals the heightened danger Fisk faces, prompting the FBI to agree to house arrest. Karen's investigation leads her to the hospital, where she shares her own past trauma while interviewing a victim's daughter. Always knew something was up with Homegirl after she capped all bullying in Season 1. The FBI's decision to release Fisk into house arrest results in a violent ambush, leaving agents dead and Fisk unscathed. My guy is the king of the police escort ambush, saved by a mysterious, accurate agent. Matt, his senses returning, learns of Fisk's release and the resulting chaos. Fisk is introduced in a lavish shower, reflecting on the events from the previous night. As he arrives at a hotel, agents discuss the casualties they've suffered, while his attorneys prepare for the next steps. Fisk, shaken by the assassination attempt, demands that they locate his wife, Vanessa. He's escorted to a penthouse suite where Agent Ray Nadeem explains that Fisk will be under constant surveillance. Fisk, despite the security, points out how close he came to dying, which angers Nadeem as he reminds Fisk of the fallen agent. Homie might want to watch his tone around old cue ball over here. Fisk meets with his lawyers, who inform him that Vanessa is missing, while Ben Donovan asks to shut off the cameras for a private conversation. Because, you know, in case somebody tries to post this. Foggy, living with his girlfriend, Marcy, is disturbed by the recurring dreams about his deceased friend, Matt. He soon learns that Fisk has been released, which leads him to seek out District Attorney Blake Towers. Foggy pushes Towers to take action against Fisk, but Towers remains dismissive, claiming there's nothing more to be done. Meanwhile, Matt is nearby, covertly investigating the hotel where Fisk is staying, trying to uncover the reasoning behind his release. It's like even Daredevil is disappointed that Fisk is a rat. As Matt sneaks through the hotel, he has an internal dialogue with his manifestation of Fisk, reflecting his inner conflict. Meanwhile, Karen is at the hotel gate, determined to uncover the truth. She confronts Agent Nadeem, but he directs her focus to the lives lost in the pursuit of justice. In the end, Matt warns Foggy to stay out of it, but is met with resistance, as Matt's return has become known to Fisk. He recognizes that the devil is back. Wilson Fisk's meticulously ordered routine is disrupted by an early morning room check, where Agents Lim and Poindexter scrutinize his quarters. I just hate it when that happens. Dex's lingering gaze at Fisk hints at an unsettling fascination. Matt returns to his neglected apartment, finding evidence of someone's continued care. He dons a suit, a symbol of his return, and departs in a cab. Foggy, overwhelmed by Matt's reappearance and the threats against him, seeks Marcy's advice. She suggests a bold move, a write-in campaign for district attorney against Blake Towers, leveraging Fisk's release to garner support. Matt, using Foggy's stolen ID, infiltrates the prison, claiming to be Franklin Nelson. Homie probably has no idea how much they don't look alike. Sad. Matt's prison visit is a facade to gather information about Fisk's connection to the Albanians, specifically Vic Yusufi. His aggressive questioning results in a physical altercation and Michael's subsequent removal. Matt, escorted through the prison's labyrinth corridors, is led to an isolated room. Karen, determined to expose Fisk's financial dealings, is interrupted by Foggy, who reveals Matt's survival. They rush to Matt's apartment, finding signs of his recent presence. I can't believe they doubted this dude, especially when they're co-starring in a show named after him. Matt, attacked by a nurse with a syringe, narrowly avoids being fully injected. A phone call from Fisk reveals the orchestrated nature of the attack and Fisk's control over the situation. Matt then engages in a brutal prison riot, extracting information from Vic Yusufi and escaping with the aid of an Albanian inmate. Dex, meanwhile, is questioned about the ambush on Fisk, but Fisk's testimony exonerates him, creating an unsettling alliance. Foggy announces his write-in campaign for district attorney, rallying support from the police union. Dex, after reviewing Fisk's exonerating statement, confronts Fisk. Fisk manipulates Dex by appealing to his sense of victimhood. Karen obtains crucial information about Fisk's financial dealings. Matt, regaining consciousness in the back of his cab, discovers a new driver who sends the vehicle plunging into the East River, leaving Matt's fate uncertain. Dex's meticulously ordered routine in his pristine apartment reveals a man obsessed with control. I wonder if he has an air vent filled with blood drops and glass slides. A picture of Dex with a suicide prevention group focusing on Julie hints at a deeper connection. Matt's cab is recovered from the river, but his body is missing. Fisk, with Ben Donovan, confronts the FBI, led by Ray Nadeem and Dex, demanding adherence to their agreement. To maintain progress, Fisk offers a new target, Matthew Murdock. Dex, meanwhile, stalks Julie, foreshadowing a dangerous obsession. The FBI raids Matt's apartment, finding only a wetsuit. Karen, confronting Felix Manning, is met with chilling revelations about his past, leaving her shaken and vulnerable. Karen, now paranoid, is taken to Matt's ransacked apartment by the FBI. Ray Nadeem questions her about her connection to Matt and Fisk, uncovering her financial support of Matt and her involvement with James Wesley. Karen, realizing the danger, provides Ray with information about Fisk's financial dealings and flees. Fisk, given access to sealed psychiatric records, delves into Dex's past. Flashbacks reveal Dex's troubled childhood, marked by violence and emotional instability. His therapist's attempts to guide him are complicated by her terminal illness, leaving Dex with a distorted sense of empathy. Dex's present-day behavior, including manipulating a suicidal caller, underscores his dangerous tendency. Fisk, observing Dex's interactions with Julie, recognizes a potential weapon. He decides to create a new villain, using Dex as an instrument. Dex's encounter with Julie at the hotel bar takes a dark turn as he reveals his unsettling knowledge of her life, causing her to flee. Foggy, hosting a campaign event, is confronted by Ray Nadeem, who accuses Matt of leading a double life. Ray's questions about Matt's disappearance and stolen ID create tension between Foggy and Karen. Karen, seeking attorney-client privilege, confesses to Foggy that she killed James Wesley. That's right, Foggy. Karen ain't the one. Well, I guess she is the one, but you know what I mean. Dex, in a fit of rage, destroys his apartment and turns to his therapy tapes for solace. Matt, battered and exhausted, stumbles into his apartment, collapsing on the floor. At this point, homie should have a mattress installed into the center of his living room. He awakens to the FBI's arrival and narrowly escapes to the rooftop, overhearing their search. A police radio broadcast declares Matthew Murdock armed and dangerous, solidifying his status as a fugitive. Karen Page, after confessing to Foggy Nelson about James Wesley's murder, encounters Daredevil, who seeks her assistance in dismantling Wilton Fisk. Well, 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 how the tables have turned, Mr. Daredevil. Matt reveals Fisk's release due to a staged attack and requests she locate Jasper Evans, but Karen initially refuses. Meanwhile, Fisk receives his confiscated property. Despite her initial reluctance, Karen gathers information on Evans and informs Foggy of her meeting with Matt. Foggy, recognizing the FBI's pursuit of Matt, agrees to help find Evans, demanding Matt surrender to the authorities. Poindexter, increasingly unstable, confronts Fisk, suspecting his involvement in hiring Julie Barnes, which disrupted his carefully constructed life. Fisk, exploiting Poindexter's vulnerabilities, manipulates him by discussing his his father's murder and understanding his pain. Leaving Fisk sweet, Poindexter is shown a newspaper article that makes him the FBI scapegoat. Poindexter is placed on leave by the FBI, further isolating him despite Ray Nadim's attempts to offer support. Karen locates Evans, who initially attacks her, but is stopped by Daredevil. Matt agrees to surrender to the FBI, prioritizing his friend's safety, and demands Evans testify against Fisk. Evans, promised protection for his son, agrees. Foggy informs Nadim of Matt's surrender and Evans' potential testimony. Nadim, reporting to Tammy Hatley, reveals Evans' disappearance from prison, implicating Fisk. Poindexter, driven to the brink by hallucinations and despair, is manipulated by Fisk, who sends Felix Manning to equip him. Matt, Foggy, and Karen bring Evans to the New York Bulletin, where Mitchell Ellison agrees to receive his testimony. Because first thing first, they gotta get that story. As Evans prepares to testify, Poindexter, disguised as Daredevil, assaults the Bulletin building, brutally murdering employees and eliminating Evans. He engages in a fierce battle with the real Daredevil, ultimately defeating him. Poindexter then attacks Ellison and escapes. The FBI, led by Nadim, arrives to find the massacre. Poindexter eliminates FBI agents while escaping, and Daredevil also flees. Fisk's scheme successfully frames Daredevil for the New York Bulletin massacre. Matt, wounded and disillusioned, seeks refuge at Clinton Church. His favorite kickback spot, where Maggie Grace tends to his injuries. Ray Nadim, investigating the attack, questions Karen Page and Foggy Nelson, citing Karen's connection to Daredevil. Karen insists the Bulletin attacker was an imposter, and Daredevil doesn't kill, and points to Jasper Evans' murder, which eliminated crucial evidence against Fisk. Matt confronts Melvin Potter, who admits Fisk coerced him into making a Daredevil suit and allows Matt to inspect his workshop. Nadim and Tammy Hatley discuss the potential fallout if Fisk is indeed controlling the FBI, and Nadim requests time to gather more evidence. You want to know the best place to find new evidence? That newspaper storage room. Just saying. Karen visits Mitchell Ellison at the hospital, who demands she write an article exposing Daredevil's identity and connection to Fisk. Karen refuses, and Ellison fires her. Matt discovers another Daredevil suit in Potter's workshop, but Potter, under Fisk's order, traps him. Matt fights Potter before an FBI raid, allowing Matt to escape while Potter is arrested. Fisk is informed that Poindexter remains hidden, as planned, but the attempt to capture Daredevil failed. Nadim, suspicious of Fisk, confronts him in a suite, questioning his involvement in Evans' death and the manipulation of the FBI. Fisk's ambiguous responses confirm Nadim's suspicions. Foggy, examining legal files, realizes Fisk's ultimate goal. Karen contemplates returning to Fagin Corners, but her father rejects her. Oh, how could he? Nadim, continuing his investigation, is confronted by his wife, Seema, who accuses him of lying about his involvement in the Bulletin attack. Of all the drama he's going through, add a nagging wife to the list. Nadim promises honesty and is then visited by Daredevil, who reveals that an FBI agent committed the Bulletin murders. Following the Bulletin attack, Poindexter stabilizes himself using Mercer's tapes, seeking a North Star to guide him, and he apologizes to Julie Barnes, requesting her support. He looking for support after murking all those dudes? Ninja, please. Nadim, influenced by Daredevil, suspects Poindexter and seeks Daredevil's help to investigate. They devise a plan to infiltrate Poindexter's apartment and find evidence linking him to the attack, promising not to harm him. Nadim arranges a meeting to lure Poindexter from his apartment, allowing Daredevil and him to search for Daredevil's suit. They find Mercer's tapes, but not the suit. Poindexter, frustrated by the delays and Barnes' rejection, returns home, leading to a confrontation with Daredevil and Nadim. Poindexter injures Nadim, and Daredevil escapes with a Mercer tape. Foggy, at an endorsement meeting, accuses Fisk of manipulating the FBI, but lacks evidence, which coincidentally could have been important. Karen confronts Fisk, attempting to provoke a confession to his father's murder. Fisk manipulates her into revealing Matt Murdock's identity, and then provokes her into admitting to killing James Wesley. Enraged, Fisk attacks her, but FBI agents intervene. Poindexter burns Mercer's tapes and joins Fisk, who becomes his new North Star. Obviously, the wise choice. Matt at the church questions his decision to spare Poindexter and overhears Maggie Grace's prayer, confirming she is his mother. Oh no. Matt Murdock confronts Father Latham, expressing his anger at being kept in the dark about Maggie Grace being his mother. But honestly, he should have known, seeing that his name is Father Lantham. Lantham reveals Grace's postmortem depression and her decision to leave Matt with Jack Murdock. Disillusioned, Matt walks away. Ray Nadim, in a recorded interview, exposes Wilson Fisk's criminal conspiracy and Benjamin Poindexter's role in the Bulletin killing. However, Felix Manning frames Nadim for murder, revealing Tammy Hatley's allegiance to Fisk. Karen Page, aware Fisk knows she kills James Wesley, prepares to flee New York. Foggy Nelson suggests she go public instead, but Karen insists on leaving. Foggy gives her money and she departs. Lantham informs Grace that Matt knows the truth, prompting her to find the empty apartment in despair. Matt seeks solace at Fogwell's gym, confronting a mental manifestation of his father. Nadim returns home to find Poindexter with his family, who warns him Fisk wants Daredevil and pressures him to conceal his injury. Matt receives a call from Nadim, who warns of Fisk's impending move. Matt, still confronting his father's manifestation, resolves to kill Fisk. Grace is visited by Karen, who learns Matt knows the truth. Grace confesses her past fears and regrets, and Karen admits her role in exposing Matt's identity. Grace offers Karen sanctuary at the church. Foggy's family celebrates his newfound fame, not to mention the fact that he can now legitimately have a blue checkmark next to his IG profile. But Theo Nelson reveals Nelson's meets financial dependence on Fisk's front, Red Lion National Bank, and Manning's threat of fraud charges. Hatley reinstates Poindexter and reveals Fisk's deep corruption of the FBI. Nadim is horrified to witness their collaboration. They are given orders to apprehend several crime bosses, including Everett Starr and Rosalie Carbone, and bring them to the presidential hotel. Hatley explains she was forced to cooperate to protect her daughter, revealing Fisk's long-term manipulation. Nadim, contacting Daredevil, informs him of Fisk's meeting with crime bosses. Fisk offers protection to the crime bosses in exchange for a portion of their profits. Poindexter, disguised as Daredevil, kills Starr, increasing the tax for the remaining bosses. Matt finds Shelby trapped in Fisk's secret room, who reveals Fisk intends to kill Karen. In 2004, Karen Page's life in Vacant Corners, Vermont, is chaotic, marked by drug use and a strained relationship with her family. Aw snap, back in the day, Karen was getting busy. Her father Paxton and brother Kevin struggle to keep their diner afloat, while Karen feels trapped by her responsibilities. Karen's resentment towards her father and her brother intensifies, culminating in a bitter argument where she reveals her mother's hidden dissatisfaction with their life. Karen's turbulent relationship with her boyfriend, Todd Neiman, further complicates her situation. After a confrontation with Kevin leads to Karen to shoot him. So Miss American Pie, been capping fools. A subsequent car crash caused by Karen's distracted driving results in Kevin's death. Overwhelmed by grief and guilt, Paxton disowns Karen and manages to leave Vacant Corners. And who wouldn't with a name like Vacant Corners as a city? In the present, Karen seeks refuge at Clinton Church, haunted by her past. Father Lantham, sensing her distress, offers comfort and guidance, suggesting redemption is possible. Like, just look at the success story he turned Daredevil into. Meanwhile, Wilson Fisk, having located Karen, orders Benjamin Poindexter to kill her. Poindexter, disguised as Daredevil, attacks the church, targeting Karen. Daredevil arrives to protect Karen. Poindexter's brutal assault on the church leads to a confrontation with Daredevil, during which Father Lantham is tragically killed while shielding Karen. A tough way to go, but hey, still lasted longer than Ben Urich from Season 1. Enraged, Daredevil engages Poindexter in a fierce battle, but Poindexter gains the upper hand. Karen intervenes, forcing Poindexter to flee and leaving a wounded Daredevil in her care. Poindexter, failing to kill Karen Page because, as I mentioned before, Karen ain't the one, orders Ray Nadim to take command at Clinton Church, enforcing Fisk's orders, while Murdock and Page hide in the crypt. Grace, mourning Father Lantham, reluctantly guides the police through the church. Murdock and Page discuss their past actions, with Page admitting to killing James Wesley and Murdock revealing his plan to kill Fisk. Apparently, all of a sudden, Daredevil is about that life. Fisk holds a press conference framing Daredevil as a public enemy. Brett Mahoney, investigating the church, notices inconsistencies in the FBI's reports. Poindexter pressures Nadim to keep the NYPD away, while Grace tries to sway Nadim's conscience. Fisk, now fully freed, seeks to reclaim a sentimental painting, which obviously seems like the perfect time to do so. Murdock sneaks out of the church, and Nelson arrives, demanding Page surrender to the NYPD, not the FBI. Poindexter clashes with Mahoney over Page's custody. Poindexter finds Murdock's blood in the crypt, realizing he's been deceived. Mahoney releases Page, and she, Murdock, and Nelson reunite. They plan to find a witness to testify against Fisk. Nadim, fearing Fisk's retaliation, tells his family to flee. Fisk's men attack his home, and Daredevil arrives, unmasking himself to gain Nadim's trust and enlist his help in taking down Fisk. Wilson Fisk and Vanessa Mariana are finally reunited, but the moment is marred by the news that Ray Nadim survived the attack and escaped. No way to ruin a reunion than finding out someone you plan to murder survived. Fisk, undeterred, greets Mariana, bringing her to the presidential hotel. There, Benjamin Poindexter attempts to discuss the situation with Fisk, but Fisk cuts him off. Meanwhile, Matt Murdock, Foggy, Nelson, and Brett Mahoney bring Nadim and his family to safety at Bess Mahoney's house. Nadim's wife, Seema, is disappointed in his dishonesty, but Nadim promises to make things right. Murdock tells Nadim he will testify against Fisk. Murdock later apologizes to Karen Page for ignoring her warnings about Fisk, and they decide to help Nadim escape by sending him to India, as witness protection is no longer an option. Damn, you really know you're in over your head when not even WITSEC is a viable choice. Foggy Nelson approaches Blake Tower, offering to drop out of the district attorney race in exchange for a chance to meet with Nadim and help him take down Fisk. So you're telling me using Fisk as a stepladder into politics didn't work out as planned? Shocker. Nadeem, overwhelmed by regret, admits his wrongdoings during a preparation for his meeting with the DA. In an attempt to regain Fisk's favor, Poindexter suggests another shot at killing Karen Page, but Fisk refuses. Felix Manning informs Fisk of Nadeem's intention to testify against him, prompting Fisk to order Manning to prevent Nadeem from reaching the grand jury. Poindexter, eager to please Fisk, returns a painting to him, but Mariana notices the bloodstains on the frame, realizing the depth of Poindexter's ruthlessness. Meanwhile, Murdock and Nadeem survive an attack while traveling to the courthouse, but despite their efforts, Nadeem's testimony is dismissed. Nadeem, feeling defeated, knocks out Nelson and escapes. Nadeem returns home, recording a final message for his family, knowing his fate is sealed. Poindexter, sent by Fisk and Mariana, confronts Nadeem in the backyard. Nadeem pleads with Poindexter to join him in taking down Fisk, but Poindexter refuses, claiming Fisk made him feel powerful. Poindexter then executes Nadeem with a headshot, leaving his bloody body behind. FYI, when a brand new character comes out of nowhere and becomes incredibly important, their days are also numbered. Mahoney informs Nelson of Nadeem's death, and Murdock realizes that the law alone cannot defeat Fisk. He resolves to take matters into his own hands. Daredevil kidnaps Felix Manning to interrogate him about Fisk's plans, learning that Fisk is preparing for a grand wedding with Vanessa Mariana, designed to win public favor. Because how else do you sway the public opinion that you're a trustworthy human being? By getting married. Meanwhile, Foggy Nelson meets with Brett Mahoney, discussing the fallout from Nadeem's death. As tensions rise, the FBI holds a press conference, falsely blaming Nadeem for Wynn's death. In an unexpected turn, Nelson is summoned to the FBI office, where Poindexter assures him that he is not in danger. Nelson is brought to Seema Nadeem, who secretly provides him with Nadeem's phone containing vital evidence before the FBI agents leave them alone. Daredevil calls Poindexter, taunting him about Barnes' murder and Fisk's manipulations, which sends Poindexter into a rage. Because this season has proved us anything, it's when all else fails, get Poindexter pissed off. Meanwhile, Nelson and Page discover a video message from Nadeem implicating the FBI agents in their crimes and revealing key figures involved in Fisk's conspiracy. As Fisk's wedding ceremony begins, Poindexter, now wearing Daredevil's suit, attacks the event, hellbent on avenging Barnes' death. He tries to kill Mariana, but Daredevil intervenes, leading to a chaotic battle. In a three-way fight, Daredevil manages to defeat Poindexter, breaking his spine, while Fisk is worn down. Daredevil considers killing Fisk, but relents after Mariana pleads for her husband's life. Fisk is forced to agree to Daredevil's terms, promising to keep his secret and leave his loved ones alone to protect Mariana. And as always, the key to turning any man into a certified wuss, his woman. As Mahoney arrives to take Fisk into custody, Nelson gives his full endorsement to Tower, who promises to work to dismantle Fisk's empire. In the aftermath, the group, now united, reflects on their victory, with a new law firm forming and hope for the future, while Poindexter undergoes experimental surgery to heal his spine, hinting that his story is far from over. Well, as you can see, a lot of webs have been weaved. So if you guys have any theories on how the new season will unfold, leave some comments below. No cap.